Now we're starting. Yeah, you got to move closer. You got a big old man spread, and you can do it. You know, you're not on a train. You can sit however you're comfortable, but there's a camera.
Don't be afraid of me.
I'll just lean forward.
A camera's a lot like a woman. You can't just man spread in front of it.
But I'm right here, and I still take up like a third of the camera.
Yeah.
This big black blob.
I mean, there's nothing we can do about that. That's just who we are as people, you know.
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows, everything. That's wonderful.
Oh, right. We do need to start with a song, and that's it.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
My life was sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows.
Do you know this
everything
one?
that's wonderful
Vaguely.
is what
Not
I feel
really.
when we're together.
Is this a musical?
Brighter than a lucky
No, it's from
penny.
something, right?
Leslie Gore.
Like a crooner
1957.
type? Yeah,
no, it's the same woman that did "It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to."
Oh,
It's my party.
Little
now
known
I'm
fact-
imagining her voice.
Little known fact about Leslie Gore. You know who discovered her and produced both songs? Those
Al
songs?
Gore.
Phil Spector.
No, Quincy Jones.
Ah.
Quincy Jones wrote "It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to."
I believe it. I mean,
Isn't
what
that
hasn't
funny?
that man had his fingers in?
It's true.
I bet Quincy Jones would cry at a party.
Why not?
He seems like a diva enough dude.
That came
he
from a
would-
really deep, true place. It was his party. He would cry if he wanted to.
I mean, yeah. If you're Quincy Jones, you have the audacity to do all your own stuff like that.
I
could see
wonder
him
what-
being a real ham bone.
What's the weirdest thing? Like, somebody that great, you know? Like, obviously, society tries to draw the line at, like, don't murder anyone or molest a kid. But what, like, super... Kind of, right. So, we try. I didn't say we succeed.
Yeah.
We try. But what sort
There's
of
some
is,
notable
like...
exceptions.
Yeah. Many.
Even within the past couple months.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
But, like... What, not a criminal thing, but like somebody of that echelon, like a Quincy Jones or Michael Jackson, whatever.
Mhm.
What, he's a bad example because there's answers.
He had sex with kids.
I don't know. But what weird like party, you know what I mean? Like what thing could somebody get away with where they're that great, but it's just like every time we have a party, they like literally like shove an orange up their ass and then ask everybody like what's the weirdest thing that's
that sounds like half my friends from college.
Yeah.
They're all professionals now.
That one's still too close to sexual assault, but what like non-criminal, almost wholesome but just bizarre thing would everybody be like, yeah, but that's Quincy Jones, so you know,
right?
He gets to.
So he gets to cry at his party.
Crying at his party is where we started.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bushwick Bears podcast. Here we are. I'm Jericho Davidson. We got Boris Hyken, Derek Humphrey.
It's our party tonight, and we'll cry. We'll spread our man spread a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, so I have a medical.
Yeah. What
condition.
is your medical condition? Because you are
big old balls. The doctor said it's big old balls.
One, I believe the correct term is fupa. My fat upper pussy area is a little big right now, for one. But for two, I forgot about this until I started doing yoga. I did yoga for the first time a few years ago, and I remember it was supposed to be good for veterans. And
number two,
double down.
Sorry, like I remember when I killed Osama bin Laden with my bare hands. He was like, "You'll never out yoga me." And then anyway, so I was doing yoga. I did it for a few weeks, and I started noticing like a corrector posture. And I noticed that whenever I would stand still, my foot would want to turn to the right.
Not better for grammar, but good for posture.
Not better for grammar.
A corrector posture.
Yeah. So, anyways, and so I just happened to mention it to my mom on the phone. I was like, it's weird. My right foot just pulls right. You know, like I'm bow-legged or whatever. And people used to kind of say that to me when I was younger. And she was like, "Oh yeah, you used to wear a brace when you were a kid." I forgot.
Oh dang!
When I was a kid, I used to wear a brace on my right leg, and it was like it's kind of cockeyed a little bit. And
how old?
That young, because they're
young
like
enough where you totally wiped it from your memory.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe when I think I was like 3-4, so like kind of barely kind of can or whatever.
4 inches.
Yeah.
When you were 3'4" inches.
Well, here's the thing: is like with everything else in life.
So that's like 10 years old, right? That's what I was when I was 10 years old.
No.
10, I was already almost 6 feet.
Yeah, when I was
pounds.
born, I was 2 feet tall. I was a huge fucking baby. My mom was
How much did you weigh when you were born? Do you remember?
10 pounds, like 11 ounces.
Yeah,
like
I was also a very big baby. I was I think 11, 10, something like that.
I don't
I
know.
was 22 inches long though.
I don't know how much I weighed or how long I was, but I do know it would have been in the metric system.
It would have been whatever the state told you it was.
Right,
right.
exactly. Actually, everybody over there was like the same weight and the same height on the books when they were born. We don't measure, we just hand out equality.
Yeah. Oh, so anyway, so I just it actually hurts to put my legs together for like too long or whatever. So that's why I stand all the time.
Yeah,
on the
that's what all the sluts say.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean,
Because you had a club foot or whatever.
I don't even know if it's. I don't even know what the. I'd have to go back through like medical. It's too late now. I'm not gonna wear a brace now. But
pigeon-toed.
I outgrew it all the time, like Forrest Gump.
Like Forrest Gump.
Yeah, and then but also like hockey pads. That's why I can never play like rich kid sports. Because I kept outgrowing the.
You need too much expensive equipment.
Yeah,
right.
Upgraded
Yeah,
every
by
year.
Yeah.
I heard a great joke. It's like a good dad joke. I didn't write it, but Forrest Gump made me think of it. It's like police are like a box of chocolates. They'll both kill your dog.
Oh yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah,
That's
that
a
was
good
a
old
good joke.
That's a good old dad joke.
Good old dad.
Those are the ubiquitously the best jokes.
Oh, absolutely.
Dad jokes, it's true.
Well, like street jokes or whatever.
Street
like
jokes,
those
dad
sort of
jokes.
things.
They
Like
kind of go.
The good ones are great because there's a reason why, they spread
they
around
spread
like
around.
that.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like gifts. Like gifts are better than any stand-up comedy special. I laugh at gifts and memes all day.
Just a
right.
good old meme where I don't have to listen to your dumbass voice.
I don't have to hear your opinion. I can just watch a video of a goat screaming to Taylor Swift.
yeah,
That's all I need.
I can't just flick your set to the right when I'm done with it.
I want to see Medea with bold print telling me something I didn't think about before.
Medea the comic book.
Wait, what?
You want to see Medea?
No, like a meme of Medea.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like a meme of Medea, like being like, it's funnier.
Yeah, it's like a comic book, a Medea
Right.
comic book.
Yeah, she could have like a whole series
Oh,
of
that's
memes as
funny.
a comic book.
Oh my God, you guys! Holy shit, we're doing it.
We are
2020.
doing it.
We're in the cut. I went camping while
yeah, that's
while
We were both
gone.
pretty outdoors this
Yeah,
weekend.
that's what I figured. Maybe we can talk about the great outdoors. You
Yeah.
know? Derek,
Well, how was your camping?
my camping adventure was
Someone got hurt. At
someone
both of
got
ours.
hurt, so that was a little. It put a weird twist on it in the middle of it.
It always does, figuratively and literally,
We were
depending.
upstate in this on this lake, and we're hiking, and these guys, my roommates, are all younger and in better shape than me, and we packed up. It was like a camp, hike through camp or whatever you call it. We had everything on our backs.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's like an hour hike. It was 3 miles uphill with a 50-pound pack on. My old fat ass with my knees. It was pretty rough. And
50 pounds. What were you bringing with
just
you?
like everything. Like I had to carry like food,
A
and
microwave.
A little kettlebell.
kettlebells to work out. We're hiking. We passed through like a graveyard from like the 1800s. I was like, where are you guys taking me?
Oh man, you should have went through and canceled those people who were in the graves. Been like, I bet you were bad. I bet you were bad.
Oh, I'm sure there was some dude from the dudes that fought in the Revolutionary War. All terrible.
yeah.
I'm sure. But it's also like, so we found it's a beautiful spot they had picked out, but it was also right next to the graveyard was like 100 feet away. And then behind it was like the only thing left of like a cabin, like the fireplace. Was the only thing left.
Oh yeah. Where'd you guys go? Like Cold Spring?
No, I can't remember.
You went further north than that, right? You were really far north.
No, we weren't that far north. It was like I want to say Pine Grove or something like that. Harriman Lake or something. Is that
Oh,
Harriman State Park.
Harriman State
Harriman
Park.
State Park. It was deep.
Yeah,
in
I know
Harriman
that.
State
That's
Park.
not
Yeah.
that far.
That's
yeah.
not that far.
It's nice there.
It was beautiful, but so first day we set up camp and it's really nice and and everything's great and peaceful, whatever. Second day, we're out exploring and there's like these ruins, these foundations of these houses, and we're deep in it. And my one of my roommates is climbing on the fireplace thing, and all of a sudden he just says, he goes, "This is when this becomes a horror movie, right?" And then literally slips and falls in a crazy way and goes in, and I run over.
So he says it as a joke, but then he falls
Yeah,
for
that's
real.
the whole time I think this is a bit. And I was
Yeah.
like, the commitment to the bit is crazy. But what happens, he just slipped and he tried to hold on, and so he swung around, hit the fireplace, and cracked 2 of his ribs
Wow.
on his back, and then
Jesus.
fell.
So he was trying to do it as a joke, but he lost control.
Oh my god, that sent shivers through me.
Yeah, it was rough, and so like
Are you sure he's not still doing the bit to this in the hospital
Yeah.
and now?
he did it so he wouldn't have to go. There was training at a new job, and he didn't want to go. So he's like, "Oh, I broke my rib." I was like, "If that's a bit, it's the funniest bit ever." Like the
That's-
commitment
Like
to the art.
6 months from now, he's like, I
Yeah.
fucking got y'all.
But yeah, no, it was a great time. Other than that, and I was like, oh,
Meet your new Kaufman Award winner.
just throwing himself off this like 20-foot chimney. But it was. Did you guys grow up camping?
No.
I probably
Uh,
started camping in like early high school.
Did
and
they
then
make, oh.
no, nobody made me. I think I went with like my friend and his dad a couple times. My parents never took me camping. They were not here. Real quick aside, here's how not. So I remember early on when we moved to America, we went to a Renaissance fair,
Yeah.
and my parents.
Awesome.
I'll tell you 2 details of how not camping.
They're like,
I-
oh, we're back in Russia.
Well, they sort of, because they used to pick mushrooms by where we lived in Russia, and they would eat them. And then they picked these mushrooms at this Renaissance fair, and they all got violently ill. Me, my brother, and my cousin didn't eat mushrooms at that age. They maybe still don't.
Yeah.
And we didn't get sick. And literally, my parents and their friends all were fucking took like
No.
Ipecac or took something for like nausea, and were all vomiting up after these mushrooms.
Wait, they picked mushrooms at a Renaissance fair?
Yeah, like outside the random mushrooms off the ground because they thought they knew what they were doing because they looked like whatever they picked in Russia and just assumed it was the same thing.
I mean, it's that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I would never. Well, I went to an apple orchard recently, which is a cautionary reminder to never get married. For those of you at home. And but for the first time in my life, I picked an apple off a tree and ate it, and I was like nervous about the experience, and it tasted great.
Yeah, it was like,
That's
wow,
how
this is
much I
delicious.
didn't grow up around farming or anything.
Yeah.
My whole life, yeah.
You
I-
look like you might. It's crazy because you look so much like you could have grown up around farming.
Right now, I'm what like Ohio like farmers call a faggot. Because
You too, huh?
yeah, like
If you received a subsidy this year, that is the term you use for.
see, that's the funny thing is I'm an Ohio faggot, but I am a like Brooklyn alpha dog, right?
Or like an alt-right. Yeah, like an
like,
opposite.
I wouldn't say all right, thank you.
Not literally. I'm saying the same. I mean, you're also not actually a faggot, you know? I'm
Right,
saying the same
well-
way somebody would use that term as like a pejorative.
Right, sure.
So
sure.
evilly and inappropriately, of course.
Right, yeah, the worst imaginable way.
Well, the same way some people in Brooklyn use the word alt-right
right.
for somebody who's not really that, but they just
Right.
like say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's true. Alt-right is
Is
the,
the Brooklyn
left, is the progressive faggot.
It's what? How funny would it be if you were to like sincerely try to push that?
Watch me.
He's like, I'm already on Twitter right now.
It
I know.
hurts.
Yeah. Hold on, let's pause the show so I can go on Twitter and start this narrative in live.
It hurts when you call me that.
yeah, it does hurt when you call me all right just because I don't want to be a commie. Anyway, so so I didn't grow up like we went camping. I was in the Boy Scouts, and 2 of the guys
I was gonna say, did you do Boy Scouts? That's
yeah, but it was
camping.
city Boy Scouts where we
But
just
they
got
still
together.
take
and
you out.
We went to
You learn to build a fire.
we went to like a metro park. Not really, because like because it was also Boy Scouts was also a thing where your dad was supposed to get involved, and
Yeah.
my dad wasn't there, and my mom was working, and so like what it was like a group activity where like you're supposed to do that sort of shit. And he came my dad was sometimes coming. One time he took me camping with the Cub Scouts, but we went to like a city park.
Yeah.
With like a parking lot and like somebody like
It's like a dude shooting up in the corner.
yeah, I mean it's a little bit. I mean it's bigger
Now
than
start
like,
a fire on top of that homeless man.
it would be like if you're like, did you go up camping? You're like, yeah, I went to Central Park,
Yeah.
like that sort of thing. Like somebody went on a Burger King run
Yeah.
during our Boy Scouts.
You can
Gotta
do
ruin
you can do
burgers,
kids
yeah.
activities.
Right. And they kind of did that, but a lot of it for the dads was like, we're just going to get away from our wives and get drunk. And
Yeah.
sit around the fire and
I mean, I
fucking
relate to
bullshit.
them, as well.
Yeah, no, and I'm not I mean, I get it, yeah, for sure. But it wasn't until I was like 12 that I had like a real camping outdoorsy experience with my uncle,
Yeah.
my aunt's husband. I went to Maine, and
By the way,
Yeah.
Maine's fucking beautiful.
Maine
Very.
is
It's known
beautiful.
as a pretty
It's
state.
fucking wonderful. That's a life I could see myself just being an expat, but in Maine, like off the grid,
Oh,
living on a
man.
boat somewhere.
You're
like,
speaking my wife's language. She wants to do that, and I was like,
you're like, I still have too much potential for that shit.
No,
I
it's
can't-
not even the potential. I was like, I'd rather just walk to a bodega.
Dude, you know what's fucking? You know what's so funny is first time ever being in Maine. This is a lot of firsts for me. Like first time fishing. This was 2 years ago, 3 years ago at this point, I guess. First time fishing. Like I went out on a boat. Like me and my buddy went up to Maine. We have a friend that lives up there. He was actually living on the sailboat in the harbor, right?
Feel like I've been, but to be honest, I can't like picture or remember the last time I was in Maine.
It's like every state in New England, but better.
Richer.
More, maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Probably. I mean, I don't.
But I don't think so. It's so like working class, like, you know what I mean? No, but I went and I was like, it was so funny because we went out on the boat. I caught my first fish, like, and someone's like, "You've never been fishing?" I was like, "I grew up in the middle of the desert without a dad."
Right, yeah.
My mom's not going to take me fishing. She's got to work. She works 60 hours a week.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
she's like, my mom does not like outdoor stuff either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my mom would take me to the park and shit, but we never went camping.
Never like fishing.
Yeah.
I went camping. We went camping a few times just because we were super poor, and that's like an easy vacation when you're poor. We'd go car camping, in Arizona, because everywhere in Arizona is so beautiful. You drive for like 20 minutes and you just pull off on the side of the road.
And you
and
just sleep and look at
just
the stars.
Yeah, and it was great. We did that. But
Maine is known as a wealthy state, though. I'm not imagining
is it? No,
that,
I don't
right?
know.
There
Everyone I know
are
in
a
Maine
lot
is
of
working class people.
second homes or retirement homes for rich people.
That's what it makes me
In
think
Maine.
of. Is like
Maine and Vermont.
we're going to our fall cabin in Maine.
It's like kind of a
everyone-
northeastern Montana.
Everyone I know in Maine are all like blue collar, like fishermen, worker dudes.
Got
My
it.
wife's family is for sure. There are towns that are mostly that.
And that's where I meant. I was in Rockland, Maine.
They're lying to you. They're all secretly rich.
I mean, they could have fooled me. But dude, one time, so we're having such a great time. We're out on my friend's boat, and we're on the sailboat, and we're having a great time, fishing, cooking fish on the boat. But my friend kept talking about
Catching them and cooking them on the boat.
Yeah,
That's pretty
it was
nasty.
great. My friend was like, "Oh, you caught it." He was talking to me like I was a child. He's like, "You caught it. You got to clean it." I was like, "I've worked in restaurants before."
Good job, Jericho.
I've worked in restaurants. I've just never been fishing. Okay, I can clean a
Yeah,
fish.
I
Yeah.
can't clean a fish, but I can catch one.
But these
I'm
are
the
just like
opposite.
little mackerels, barely clean. Threw them on the grill. It was fucking delicious.
Nice.
But the whole time, my friend kept talking about, "Oh, we're gonna go into town. We're gonna go find us some harbor hogs, harbor hogs." But he kept saying,
is that
harbor
Are
hogs.
those chicks?
Is that a term for women?
It's
Yeah, I
like
was gonna
a
ask.
term
ask.
for like fat girls that live and work in the harbor. and have sex and-
It's exactly what it sounds like.
but they like have sex with the boat guys, right? And he kept for like the whole day. He kept talking
It's
about.
so funny they have their own version of chuckle fuckers. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
harbor hogs, they even made sure to get the
Harbor hogs.
alliteration.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go check out the harbor hogs." I can't do that. I'm terrible at accents. But he kept saying harbor hogs, harbor hogs. We go to this bar in town at the port, and the only woman there is arguably the best looking woman I've ever seen in my life.
No harbor. I've seen harbor hogs, and that is no harbor hogs.
No, and she's like stunningly beautiful. She's like, "Oh yeah, I teach surfing in the winters down in Costa Rica, and I live up here in the summers."
Oh,
And
nice.
she was like 6'2", blonde, and she was so nice and so sweet. And I was like, I looked at him and I was like, if this is a harbor hog, I need to move up here. He's like, "Dude, normally it's not like that.
Yeah,
It's
no
not, this is
kidding,
what it's
yeah.
like." And I was just like, holy shit. That was
So what's a gal like you doing in a harbor hog hole like this?
So my sister-in-law still lives in Maine.
it might have been your sister-in-law.
No, I can't drag her.
6'2", blonde, blue eyes.
Amazonian.
Kid on the side of
No,
your
that would be
hog.
more my sister.
Tits
Like if it were, like if we're talking just based on how I look.
tits the size of your head, but a waist smaller than Boris's. You know what I
No,
mean?
this was Derek in a dress.
Yeah.
No wonder I thought he was so hot.
Yeah.
Like- I'd imagine like John Candy and Nothing But Trouble.
Oh God, you guys, I love camping though. I think I love being in the outdoors now.
It's great.
I
love it.
So I grew up in the city and everything, and I went one time. I went and stayed in Maine with my uncle. We went camping. We caught fish that we would use to later trap a black bear and shoot it.
Oh
right.
wow.
So I wasn't part of the shooting,
But you were there.
You
No.
monster.
No. I wasn't there. I just but the intent was I would go help them trap the bear.
Yeah.
Do they
I-
eat the bear? What
Oh,
does
yeah.
happen to a shot bear? They eat bear meat.
They bear meat. You get a lot
Wow.
of bear meat. In fact, that's the thing though too is like I know this will piss off a lot of people who can't accept reality, but like out in Ohio and Michigan and stuff, there are some people that are so poor that they have to shoot their own like deer or whatever for meat for their family.
Yeah, and
Like, it's
nothing
not
wrong
even-
with that.
Yeah. Well, I hear it from the other side where they're like, "Well, that should never happen." It's like, well, fuck off.
Which part even? Just killing
No,
a deer or eating meat or what?
Well, I guess I don't. All of the above.
Yeah.
And it's a stupid argument, but whatever.
I just had honestly, I don't know how, but I never knew people ate bear.
Yeah, so well, you get a lot of bear meat. You give a lot of it away.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't even know it was legal to hunt bear. You're allowed to hunt like one a season, right?
There's a
Or
lot
if they're
of restrictions to it.
overpopulated
Yeah.
somewhere.
You have to have a stand. You have to have it registered to a certain spot in your name. You have to be licensed to do all this stuff. There's a lot of things, but there are a lot of guys who I worked with out in like central Ohio or deep in farmland Ohio when I had like my odds and ends jobs and stuff like that, of turning wrenches and everything, of guys who like lived in a fucking single trailer in the middle of a fucking field, who they didn't have no licenses or nothing. They had a gun.
Yeah.
And that's all. And because otherwise they weren't going to eat.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah, at that point, like, fuck a license. Obviously.
right. Yeah, absolutely. You know,
I watched Winter's Bone. Okay.
The gray.
yeah. I'm gonna fight wolves with my bare hands, dipped in shattered glass. But anyways,
That shit's awesome.
it is
So
pretty
dope.
sweet though. Yeah. But anyway, so but then after that, like in honestly, like I slept under the northern lights and all this sort of stuff, and it was like then I went back to the city, and it was a real like eye opener for me, and just like I started going down a hellbent path into like kind of just like looking at like why we're so like divorced. Like why do I go to a corner store, the deli, the bodega, or whatever, buy some pre-processed fucking food.
It's
and take it home
so
and eat it.
divorced from
Right,
a
yeah,
connection with the
yeah.
world and stuff.
Yeah. And so I actually looked at when I was in the military and having been around and seeing so much shit and like seeing like firsthand like devastation towards something. I was like, man, I just kind of want to like maybe live in the woods
Just
for a
fucking
while.
chill.
And I looked into it for a while and then I was like, I'd like go to the woods a couple times by myself and I'm like, nah, I
I go back and forth because I do. It's weird in this day and age right now with COVID. It's weird and different. But let's say before COVID,
Right now is prime living in the woods time.
Yeah,
for
well,
sure.
because there's no other
Yeah.
choice. But I definitely before this, I went back and forth. Like being alone for a couple days is great, but then after a minute, I'm like, I need to like someone needs to fucking laugh at my jokes.
I think
You know?
really
Yeah.
being alone is like, I mean, that's either a really specific personality or it's like, you know, it's not going to end well. It's going to be fucking Unabomber style.
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
so in your head, and even if you're a relatively rational person, no human brain is rational. Those are crazy fucking things.
For sure,
And
100%.
if you're like totally alone and left to your own devices, your brain can do some crazy shit.
You need feedback. You need to see you need to see in someone else's eyes how they see you, and that helps a lot with calibrating your shit psychologically. That's social that shit. Fuck, what was I gonna say?
Yeah, sometimes it can just fuck with you. So it's almost just like easy. It's like if you really want to live a peaceful life. But it's got its own stressors. It's not like you just
for
go to the
sure.
woods and everything's all sunshine.
No, you can't
Dandelions.
fucking Amazon some shit to
No,
your spot,
Right,
you know?
yeah. I mean, like, and that's the thing. My wife is still, like, idyllic about that, where she's like, I want to go live, like, in the woods. And I was like, All right, you better hope Amazon has like a drone service or something where, because like
I mean, they will. They will in not long.
I know, but
This
like,
ain't your grandpa's living in the woods.
yeah, I know. Well, that's actually scary. It's like, I mean, they're gonna have drones that are gonna be able to cover.
You can't
everything.
escape.
Yeah, you can't.
Someone's gonna want your grandpa's living in the woods, and they fucking can't. They can't have it.
Holy moly!
Right. Yeah. So
I had a there was a. I remember distinctly, like, it was so weird because we were super poor, right? And growing up and like, so after my parents got divorced and my dad wasn't around, we had this.
We get it, Jesus.
I know we both keep doing that.
I thought about saying it differently, specifically for that. I was like, how do I word this? But it's important for this story.
No, it's context. I get it.
It's context,
I'm
but
just
because
giving shit.
the family that lived next door was a Mormon family, like super practicing Mormon, like had all the food stockpiled and like had multiple
like ready, like for apocalypse.
Yeah,
So
you know,
the
that's a
magic
tenet
underwear.
of Mormonism.
Is being ready.
You have
for,
to have 5 years worth of supplies at all times.
You know what?
Just
That's
like,
fucking.
look, yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Like I'm sure it's for some crazy ass reason, like Jesus come blah blah blah, and yet it's using this crazy reason to like have you act in a way that's 100% good for you. It's like buying insurance.
Well, it's like remember when COVID very first happened and everyone thought stores were going to shut down too?
Yeah.
Like people like that, they're like, cool, we're good.
That's why I've been
100%.
stockpiling Paul Newman's pizzas.
I've got 40
5
years.
worth. I've got 5 years.
I'm
worth
ready.
Of
I'm
Paul
good to
Newman's
go.
pizzas.
I have a lot of canned seafood, but that's just because I eat it over the garbage can
See,
every other day for
In your
dinner.
underwear, just by yourself.
Dude, I just went nuts. I got a bunch of fucking Goya shit. I was at like a Weiss supermarket in Pennsylvania, and they had a bunch of cheap cans of shit that you just
Oh, I
like
love
only
it.
find in ethnic stores in Brooklyn.
Oh, hell
There's like,
yeah.
I love that
I
cultural
stocked up.
stuff that like never goes away. That's just inside of you.
Bro.
It's like me with like hot sauce and a lot of like Mexican ingredients. It's like that shit never goes away. Like I will seriously just crunch up tortilla chips, put them in a bowl, and just douse it with hot sauce and eat it with a fork.
Yeah. You just grew all the
Like, that's
time.
just how I grew up. You know, like
Seafood, you know what I fucking miss bad as I never had fresh bananas until I moved to America.
oh,
And
shit,
in
yeah.
Ukraine they had canned bananas and they're delicious.
I've never even seen that ever in my
I've
life.
never
yeah.
seen that. A jarred.
I
pickled
only had
nothing.
canned bananas until I was like 7 and came here.
Is it like
I
a
thought
syrup?
you
Is
had
it
to
in a
de-
syrup?
Honestly, I don't remember because I haven't had them since I was a
Wow,
child.
that's
But I
so
but I
crazy.
remember loving them.
I thought you had to dehydrate bananas or else.
So
Like
you-
I
oh, you
only
like
ever
the
saw them in the
chips?
chips. Yeah, it's either
Or
that
else
they're
they
done
murder
for.
your family. You
or, else,
said
or
that.
else they're done for in
Well,
like
they
3
sent you to the
days.
fucking labor camps for the rest of your life.
I don't know who you are or what you want. I don't have any money, but I do know you canned some bananas, and I will find you.
No, so like this Mormon family that lived next door to us, they were always so sweet. It's funny, people talk shit about Mormons, but I was like, my only experience, especially when I was young, were this family who would like, they were really good to us, like helped my mom out a lot, and they were just the dad was like, he was a scout leader, right?
Yeah.
He was a Boy Scout, or actually, I mean, this might have been Cub Scouts. I don't remember how old I was, but we didn't have enough money for me to actually be in the Boy Scouts. But he was like, dude, that's how it's funny because it's not that expensive to be in the Boy Scouts. But he was like, well, how about this? He was the troop leader, so he was like, you can come with us. Just come and you can do all the activity. It'll be fun. But the deal is that their whole thing was they were all buddy system, and I was by myself. I was like 12. I was already traumatized from like no dad, but like fucking.
Why were you by yourself? Was it you bring your own buddy? They don't assign you a buddy?
No, I wasn't in the troop, right? So they
Oh,
all
right.
had their buddies predetermined. He was like, "Come and you can do all the activities.
along.
You can hang out. You can hang
You're
out."
not one of us on paper.
I'm not one of them
You're
on
an
paper.
undocumented Boy
I
Scout
was an undocumented Boy Scout. So I remember
You should have been deported.
from the Boy Scouts.
I wasn't like back then. I wasn't as
freeloader.
social as I am now. So it's not like I made friends like overnight. We were gone like 3 days or something. So I didn't make any friends. But it was the first time sleeping like outside by myself. And I always remember like there's so many things like he's like, yeah, go take a canoe out. But I didn't know how to canoe, and he didn't have time to teach me. He had his whole thing to do. So I remember going out in a canoe and like trying to figure it out. And I got out onto the lake enough that I was too far, but I couldn't go back.
Right.
And I got so frustrated. I was like, I'm gonna get in trouble if I lose this canoe. So I tied the rope around my waist, jumped out,
Swam and dragged it.
pulled it back in.
God,
Just
that's
so-
so embarrassing.
So embarrassing.
Little fat fuck.
Just like trying not to cry, like. But I remember that night I was like, something was out there, right? An animal. And all of a sudden there was just crashing into the water. I'm like, oh my God, that's like a giant bear doing backflips. We were in southern Arizona, like on the border of Mexico. I don't even know if there's bear out there. But like, I was like, oh my God, this is so fucking terrifying. What is this creature jumping in the water? And it turns out in the morning we saw it was fucking beavers. Like beavers, they slap their tail on the water.
Yeah,
So it's so fucking loud. But I was like, I'm gonna die.
You thought it was bears jumping in the water?
Yeah. I told this story to my brother-in-law recently because we were just talking about stupid shit, and he was like, dude, he was talking about like 3 months ago camping, and he heard the same noise. He pops out with his like 9mm in his hand in his underwear.
My cousin Vinny
like,
style.
ready to shoot something, flash the light, and it's like a little beaver, you know.
I would pop out with my AR. I'm like, who's ready to die, motherfuckers?
You know what's funny? Like everything that's going on with COVID and 2020 and Trump and everything.
What are you talking about?
You know,
Yeah.
no, you sound like a true Republican in Middle America. Be like, everything's fine. The country's not on fire.
What, COVID?
I have
What are you talking about? There are 40 million people unemployed. What do you mean?
I grew up. So I didn't get like a lot of life skills training, but I got some weapons training. Right?
You
So
sound
I
like
grew
you're
up.
from-
I grew
That's like
like
the
you.
most Arizona thing you've ever said.
I can't balance a checkbook, but
Like you, I grew
I
up.
can shoot 17 people within 2 minutes.
I grew up near a religious family, and they had a particular goal, whatever, and they were nice and really sweet, and they took me in and everything. I was never like really a part of them.
What religion?
Nation of Islam.
Oh, okay.
And
Like
I can tell just by looking at you.
like Assalamu alaikum, brother.
I was
Or-
really just kidding.
Oh.
But
Hey man, you're a progressive guy.
No,
I took
I
you.
mean, like,
I took
I
you at your
believed you.
word.
the mission was we were supposed to kill all the white people, and I was
Oh,
infiltrating.
they were 5%, huh?
Yeah. So
5%. Oh, Assalamu alaikum, brother.
yeah.
Malaikum salam.
No, but we I
Power
did
be to
still.
God.
It's weird. Like I still saw more guns in the city than I did when I went out to the country.
Well, the thing about being out in the country is you just assume everyone has one.
Yeah.
So you fuck around less, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit.
So my uncle, we went out and we were out setting traps for this bear. He handed me a 9mm or something like that. Is like, hey, in case the bear shows up, because the bear had what you have to do is you have to get the bear in the pattern of coming to this particular spot, like Pavlovian
And
in a
so
sense.
now it's like,
Yeah. And so you have to bait it with fish. So we wake up at like 4 a.m, take the fish that we caught, and drive out and.
And you get it in a bear trap?
No, he shot it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
I was
Bear
gonna say
traps-
bear trap sounds super cruel.
Yeah. And, oh, yeah.
I mean, I get why people did it at
super
one point.
inhumane, you know what I mean? And then but that was like, I mean, here's the thing though, is like we get up so early and everything. It's like it's really like you're waking up to like the sun coming up in Maine and everything, and it's very like it's I don't know. It puts you in touch with nature, like that I was like divorced from. I would like to go back to it, but like then again, I'm always like, man, I need like attention.
It has a profound effect, I think, that people dismiss, right? And then you get out in nature and you're like, I can't entirely describe all the benefits of this, but like there's just something about it that's clearly just feels right.
Oh, absolutely.
Again,
I love it.
and Nation of Islam taught me.
You know where I went? I couldn't take photos. I went to it's like a farm where a dude was growing a bunch of marijuana in Sonoma County, and first of all, I didn't even know weed plants get this big, but he had weed plants that were like 18 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
I had never
really? Because
seen
your
anything.
hand's 4 feet high.
I'm just
I was
pointing.
like, oh, 4 or 5 feet, huh? Yeah.
I'm just pointing to the heavens. I was literally like, this thing is like twice my height, more than way more than twice my height. Literally, 'cause I asked, so it was 18 feet tall was the biggest one. I had no idea that's even possible. Like, they're giant fucking bushes. But also, like, the dude's a farmer, so he's not just growing weed. He's got these, like, like weed plants he's growing, some of which are on purpose, and some of them there's a name that they use, like a slang term that they use. I forget what it is, where they just grow on their own, like they just sprout, and that one.
Weeds.
No,
Gorilla
there's
grow? No,
something. I forget what it was, but anyway, we got to pick some fresh vegetables. He had some chickens out there,
Oh,
and
that's
like
awesome.
he's talking about cultivating weed, and it's like a mix. It's like science. It's cool because it sounds like someone who's doing science, but it's so much harder because instead of a lab, you're in nature, and so you're doing science, but there's also no constant. There's only like crazy shit that's being thrown at you. You have to adapt to depending on like the weather and the humidity and then the wind and like whatever else. It was just like, this is crazy. This is like how human brains evolved, right? Like this is like our brains are like optimized for this. It's like problem solving in an environment where the earth is just changing around you.
I suppose so. I would just never think to do anything industrious like that. I would like.
He's doing shit. I mean, once they get permits out there, they're going to be making tons of money growing weed. They're also dealing with these fires and shit, so that's not
Right.
easy.
Yeah.
They're gonna smoke his stash. Unintentionally.
I just thought of a really funny fucking camping story that I had forgotten about until we just started talking about it. You guys want to hear it? Can I tell you?
No.
No. We just want to hear you try to ask and then embarrass yourself on this podcast by
Dude,
being
so-
shut down.
I had a friend who got married in Zion National Park, which is fucking arguably one of the most beautiful places in the fucking
Where is that
universe.
again?
Southern
Utah.
northern Arizona, like southeastern Nevada, like that, like the Four Corners kind of area, but it's in Utah, southern Utah.
Yeah.
So we went, and the wedding was actually in Zion, but we weren't allowed to. You could stay there, but it's super expensive. But if you stay like they're like 15 miles away on the other side of the border of the park, you can just camp for like free. And so we just all did that, right?
Yeah.
And then we drove into the wedding, and there's a bunch of people like my friends from growing up, and I had this girlfriend at the time, and we're all hanging out. Everyone got shit-faced hammered, right, at this campsite. And we go to bed in the tent, and I'm sleeping by the entrance of the tent like a fucking gentleman, you know. And she's on the inside, and I'm laying down and right fall asleep. All of a sudden, I feel her kind of crawling on me, and I kind of wake up, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And she like all of a sudden, she's in the corner of the tent, like kind of right here by my head and pillow, and she takes off her pants and squats. Like she's started to piss, and I was like, "Hey, whoa,
Yeah,
what are you doing? Stop!
Doing peeing.
Stop! What are you doing? Stop! Go outside! Stop!" And she goes, "Shut up, stupid!" Continued to piss all over my pillow and sleeping bag, and I was like,
Man,
I was like, you know what? I was like, you know what? Fuck you. This is stupid. Okay, and I was so mad at her, and she just laid back down and passed out. So I got up, and I actually went and slept in the van. And woke up in the morning, everyone was starting to get up, and she's nowhere to be found. And I'm like, oh shit, I wonder what happened. She comes crawling up. There's like a creek down there, right? She comes crawling up with a giant gash on her face.
Oh
And she
my
was
god.
drunk and like went in a bush, like scraped her face. And she was like, what happened? I was like, get away. Fuck you. I was so mad at her, you know. Like,
But she has no
She
idea.
has
that-
no
Yeah.
clue. She
That's
pissed
the
all
worst.
over my shit, and then you called me stupid. And and she's like, what? I was like, well, look at your face. That's what happens when you fuck with me. No, I didn't say that. But
I have one of those where till this day I have no idea because both me and my buddy were super drunk. It's like a party at a house I lived in college, and I have a memory of being in bed, and my room was like a walk-through room. You needed to get to somewhere else by walking through my room,
Yeah.
and it was of my buddy. I honestly don't remember who this was, but somebody walking in, and I thought they were pissing in my closet. And I like kind of like half woke up and started yelling at somebody for pissing in my closet. And then the next morning, I don't know if they cleaned up, but I think maybe like I vaguely smelled something, but there was no piss. And till this day, I have no idea whether like this person pissed in my closet and I yelled at them, or they were just walking through my room and like stepped on a rustling paper, and I woke up and yelled at them for.
that's happened a few times in my partying life.
I've never.
I remember one time we were all in Mexico. There's a bunch of my buddies, And we used to do this shit all the time where we would just get one hotel room and just share it. So there were 2 queen beds. I think there were 6 of us. So I was on like a cot on this side, and there was another cot in the middle in between the 2 beds. And I'm just kind of, I'm not really sleep. And all of a sudden I hear stirring, and I look over at my friend. There's someone sleeping in the middle of the bed, right? So he's basically standing over this person. Does the thing where he like puts his hand on the wall. Like he's
yeah.
And I'm like,
trying to steady himself.
I was like, Tim, fucking stop. What are you doing? And he's like, oh, you're going to be that guy? And then pulls his dick out, and I grab the sheet, which is still folded because I kind of passed out and didn't put it on the bed. And I throw it, and it hits him in the head, and he kind of comes to. His dick's out, but then the sheet falls on the guy who's sleeping there, and he wakes up, and he's like, whoa, what the fuck's going on? And he's like, I saved him from getting his face pissed on.
Oh, that's
bet.
amazing. You're a good friend in that.
I was like, I just love that response. He's like, oh, you're going to be that guy?
I do remember one time I did go camping when I was a kid. I went with my cousin and his dad, and I was like used to growing up in like a proper household or whatever, and I went in the woods to
What
go
does that mean?
like not in the mannered. Don't give me what does that mean?
Yeah, what
sort
No,
of
I
fuck does
truly
that
didn't
mean?
know what sense you meant that
like
in.
a civilized society. Like I live in society. I have a street address or whatever. Like I'm not some country.
We lift our
fucking,
pinkies when we
some
drink our
fucking-
tea.
I'm not some fucking hick bow hunk fucking dipshit. And so
Sitting right here.
so we went camping in the fucking. I went out to go fucking pee, and away from the fucking camping area, and there was like my uncle's friend who was with us was drunk, and he was already taking a piss, and I just happened to look over, and there he was, and I was like, oh shit, and I like turned to like walk away, and he goes, don't worry about it, none. Everybody's got a dick, Derek.
That's good. That's the
Go
proper
ahead, just whip your
response.
dick out and piss.
All right,
And I'm
maybe
like,
that's a bit much.
well, I know.
He's
and
like,
I'm
come
like-
on, let me see that little dick,
and he's
Derek.
drunk.
I was like, we started off so okay.
And he had like kind of almost a southern twang, and I'm like, we're in northwestern Ohio. Like, what is it about just living 10 miles outside of a city enables some level of like, hi.
Well, Ohio's crazy. Like Southern Ohio, because like the airport to Cincinnati is in Kentucky. Like
Yeah.
it's right.
Oh.
Like Southern Ohio can get pretty redneck feeling. You know.
Oh, for sure. Once you go over the bridge from Cincinnati to Kentucky, it's clear you're in a fucking southern state.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if that's officially where I'm pretty sure the Mason-Dixon line's like right
a bunch
there.
of my comedian buddies that live in Cincinnati all live in Kentucky across the bridge because it's just cheaper. You
That's
know?
so
It's-
funny. I
It's
remember
like literally it's 10 minutes away
Yeah.
from the club or whatever. So
Jericho and I were recently cast as KKK members. For
You
a
know, at
sketch.
first you were like, oh, somebody, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yes, yeah, you 2 guys didn't ask all 3 of us. We're all 3. And then you were like, they cast KKK members.
you're like, oh
Yeah, I
And
know.
I'm like,
Yeah.
touche, salesman.
Right. And it got me to thinking too, because we're playing these KKK guys, and one of them has like a southern twang to him, you know, to make it sound like racist or whatever. But then I remember thinking like, because I was looking for like maybe a Confederate flag to hang up as a prop, and then I got to thinking, I was like, oh yeah, I remember seeing these. Like everybody was like talking about like how the South was like, oh, it's the war of Northern aggression or whatever. It's about states' rights, and because there was like this contentious like Kentucky Ohio thing for whatever dumb fucking reason, right? And started thinking about it, and I was like, well, how are we on the like the northern side? When growing up, I used to see Confederate flags in Michigan, right? And I'm like, guys, they infiltrated the North. Aren't we supposed to do something about this? Like sort of thing. It's like, wait a minute. Oh, that was a clear just signifier. Those guys just didn't like black people.
Oh, that's what I was in New Jersey 2 months ago or something.
There's a bunch of them in Maine too. Sorry.
Yeah,
Confederate flags?
Yes.
I was in fucking New Jersey, and we went camping. I'm literally 20 minutes from New York City, and you see it when you see a Confederate flag there, which I did. You're like, oh, that's just racist.
I mean, it could be, not to say that it isn't also racist, but it could be somebody who moved from the South.
Yeah, but
recently to there.
no, they were like proving a point. They had like the giant Trump flag
Oh,
and the
yeah.
Trumps, and they had a Blue Lives Matter, and they had they had the Confederate flag. I was
They
like,
had all the
They had all of them.
accessories.
So there's like, you can make an excuse for one of any of those, right? You can try.
Honestly,
but
I just don't
altogether-
I don't like too many lawn ornaments in general.
I know that it's tacky.
Yeah, I don't like 'em. I
they're
don't
like
like 'em
bumper
at all.
stickers for your house.
Either. Well, that was the thing. Is this is even back in like the 80s and whatnot. You used to see a ton of the Confederate flags. It wasn't even like a thing that popped up like post-Trump and whatnot.
Oh no,
Dukes of Hazzard.
Dukes of Hazzard, which is
kinda.
like a fun-loving show.
And I always
They're caught at it.
associated like that bohunk sort of lifestyle with that. And
Oh, for
I mean,
sure.
wrongfully so, because I've discovered as I've gotten older, like plenty of people go live in the woods who aren't that way.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know,
Thoreau.
And then Thoreau is a bitch. He
He
lived
was-
like a mile from his mom's house, and like that was his land. He just went to go like be a.
Was he a
the other one who wrote the Yellowstone book? James Duar, something.
I don't know,
Doesn't
but I
matter.
know
I
Thoreau's
went to
like
college,
part of
kind
a
of.
commune. They like Walden was a commune that was built after his book, and he was like a big anti-war guy. I think he.
Sure.
I think there's something to Thoreau. I'm
I
down
don't
to.
know. I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of rich kids who are against the war.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Touche.
like,
No, I just didn't know. I honestly didn't know he was a rich kid.
I mean, I don't even think I think it's like it was like middle class. I'm starting to find that like not all the literature I told was really that important.
That's
There are
definitely
probably
true.
other things I could have read instead of
Oh
some,
my God, there's
some
so
little
many
twink
things like
sat
that.
around a pond.
Well, that's the.
I mean, like,
there's just so many things that like because times change. It's like I love like when you hear.
Can you be a twink if there's no older gay man to go after you?
I don't mean like that. I
Does a
just mean,
twink fall in the woods?
I don't know gay vernacular really, so I just call anything like effeminate sounding something a variation of that.
You need to
But-
spend some more time with some really gay dudes.
I would, but
With some hot
COVID.
twinks.
It's a
Yeah.
riot. I love hanging out with gay dudes.
But
Make me feel so special.
you know.
You were,
Oh, but like
you were talking shit about Thoreau.
yeah, no, I mean like it was like
McCormick? Wait, is that who you were thinking of before?
No, it's like every poofy shirted fucking bourgeois
Mozart.
That was
liberal.
the time.
No, I know that was the time, but it's like hearing it's like the fucking equivalent of somebody with a live, laugh, love sign. Like,
You know, depending on the
I
year,
live-
though, some of those motherfuckers were like kind of badass at that point.
Yeah.
Not
It was different. Like in New York, it's so accepted that you really can go around again, where you could just be like a dickhead. But like Oscar Wilde, who's like the foppish dandy, like
Yeah.
that dude, fucking like went like voluntarily stood trial to like. He was like crazy. He was like fucking badass.
Well, dude, that's what.
Okay, yeah, he was,
Well,
but
that's-
Thoreau wasn't.
That's but I mean, but
that's
that's
not something I don't. We can talk
I don't know, but what I'm just saying is
Thoreau's
like
a bitch.
it's one of those things. It's like people nowadays, and it's like this is what I have a really hard time talking with young, like super liberal people. Which I think in my brain, I'm actually one of the most liberal people ever because I'm.
You're just their ghost of Christmas future.
yeah, right. If you keep this up, you're gonna end up like me.
Yeah.
But like you can't view history through a modern lens. Things are so different.
I know,
Even
but
20
Yeah.
years ago.
There's a
things
term
were
for
so-
that: retrospective bigoteering.
Okay, retrospective bigoteering. You can't do that because just things were so different, you know. And that's I get so like the thing came up with the statues thing,
Yeah.
which I'm like tear them all down. I don't give a fuck, you know. Like whatever. If
They
it-
could take him down and put him in my front lawn. I'll honor these men.
but it's like what are
You got a
those
place you putting those?
you can't judge that world by the lens of this world because everything is so different.
Well, I mean, you can, but you can't. Like, I still like look at it on paper as Henry David Thoreau lived in like a cabin on his family's land.
really hates Thoreau.
I know, I had no idea.
Because this whole conversation spawned of me just taking one swipe at one little frou-frou writer, and you guys are all like, well, everybody from back then wasn't such a bitch, and I never said they were. You can't look at the way things were then by where they are now. And I'm like, well, on paper, Thoreau lived on his fucking parents' land and he would go home at night for dinner with his mom, who would make him fucking dinner. And then he'd write about how the grapes were turning a particular shade of blue in the fucking summer. And you're like, all right, that's great, but why put this little bitch on a pedestal?
Is that how my voice sounds like to you?
You actually know I do a better impersonation of that, but I'm like mocking you.
Oh man,
Henry David Thoreau was a bitch. Put it on wax.
Okay. Well, hey, you know what, guys? This has been a really great episode.
It really has.
That was
Had some
fun.
weak
And
parts.
it's evergreen.
No,
I
I
think.
don't think it did, Derek.
I'm saying me. I'm being
Hey, you guys,
self-deprecating.
Derek did a great job. Someone write a review and talk about how great Derek
He
was.
did a great job,
needs it.
and he didn't even manspread that much for this episode.
I tried not to. I'm forcing it together.
Goddamn. What's the opposite of pigeon-toed?
Bow-legged, I think.
Bow-legged.
Crip walking.
Crip
He's
walking,
just
yeah.
crip walking through life. The pimp lean through life.
That's I'm on that shit.
Is that the name of the episode? The Pimpling Through Life.
I was thinking Henry David Thoreau was a bitch. The Great Outdoors episode.
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
I was gonna say Thoreau was a twink, but then he went on such a rant about him being a fucking bitch.
Yeah, no, shots fired. Let the estate of Thoreau come back at us.
In the accepted vernacular. Let's just put on the record. I'm not hateful towards
Oh my
any one
God.
group of people.
All of them. You're
All
hateful
of them.
towards all of them.
No, not anybody.
A path diverges
These are all
in the woods.
jokes. I feel like I have to say this anymore. Like give PSAs.
Oh, this is great.
All right, let's get out of here.
Nice.
Hell yeah, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Rate us 5 stars and write me a personal review.